So let's see here. We're a minute after 4. I like to get started kind of on time just in case people want to watch, and they can finish at a reasonable time. If you hear a whining dog in the background, it is Noodles. She is okay. She just wants a lot of attention, that's all. Anyway, my name's Maddie. Maddie Firestone. I've been working with Art with the Heart for about, I think, 6 years now, and I love it. I'm an artist with them. So I'm gonna do this tutorial today. It's these cherry blossoms, and I should have a moderator, but I also can answer or type answers, if that makes sense. But you can also write stuff in the comments because I do see them, like Randall's comment. I also do have up our donate button if you feel so inclined to donate to us. Of course, we love that. We love any participation, though. Just you being here makes our heart happy, following along with us. So please make your own version of this. I do have a couple steps that I have set up already. The Martha Stewart magic, just so we don't have to watch paint dry together. But I'm gonna get started. Looks like we have a nice storm rolling through here at the beach right now. But I love my new setup I'm trying out today. I actually have free movement all around. I'm not restricted, which is nice. And also I'm standing, and I always find that I work better doing art standing. So that's always something to try out. If you're doing art at home. And you don't have to have an easel, like I'm looking down just at my table. So, but I feel like it keeps the blood flowing. If you're able to stand, it's something nice to switch up. Anyway, so this is our beautiful piece we're gonna be doing together. I'm glad I'm doing something serene and peaceful like this. I feel like the background is almost like colors you'd see at a spa. They're kind of neutral but peaceful with those blues and yellows and greens. So anyway, let's get started with the paper from our drawing pad. And it's my last one in this drawing pad. So if you work with me, try to help remind me to get some more paper when I'm back in the office, because I'm scatterbrained. Anyway, so I always try to work on a surface that I can get messy. As you can see, this is actually the back of a big drawing pad. I just hop around between surfaces. This is the current one I've been using. So it's really just a piece of cardboard. So if you have like a big cardboard box, or, I feel like a lot of us have been getting shipments in the mail because we're bored at home and we just keep shopping. So keep one of your boxes if you need that to be your messy space that you can just move around easily. So like I said, yeah, just cardboard. All right, so we got our paper. And we have, let me walk you through the other supplies, obviously. So everything I'm using today can be found in at least one of the Art2Go bags. Both of them do have some sort of watercolor paints. Right now, these are prayings, which they're pretty nice. I've never had a problem with these prayings, and I like them because I've said this before, the black is pretty true to being like a black, if that makes sense. It doesn't have too much of like a green or blue undertone when you paint with it. At least that's what I found. So they look like this. They're actually, other than using it for this piece, I haven't used them yet. So they're pretty new, which is nice because for some reason, I guess I use yellow. Every time I have a watercolor set, I go through yellows. So I'm glad I have some nice fresh yellows. Paper towel, obviously, water cup. And this is just the paintbrush with the watercolors. So let's start. Okay, so I know my water's here. Let me do this first. We're gonna wet our watercolors first. So let's look at the colors that we're gonna be using. So you know what? I'm sorry. Let me just tell you also, you're gonna have your oil pastels. Sorry, they're off to the side. That's gonna be your last step, or some of your last steps. So you don't need them yet, but keep them off to the side. Oil pastels. So the colors we're gonna need for this. So I'm looking at the background and also my branches. We're gonna do the branches after. but you want to add water now to the black so that it starts to thicken up. So like that water penetrates down further so that the paint will be very vibrant and ready to go. All right, so got the black. I also, so for the background I did brown. So I'm just filling each little paint cubby up with some water that I'm using. So I did brown, blue. There are some greens, but I actually didn't use green but it's just from where my blue and my yellow overlapped. So you can use green, but I'm gonna skip and just put some in my yellow. Woo, that yellow's still wet and gloopy. And that's it. So right now all I have is black, brown, blue, and yellow. So these are the colors I use, but if you feel like using other colors for your background, by all means, you know, I think that would look great. So play around with it. I'm just gonna show you how to do it as close as I can to this for right now. All right, so I'm gonna put this over here and just kind of reference it. I'm gonna put this along the side like here. And we're gonna put this like this. All right, so how's everyone doing today? Everyone doing okay? Let me know how you're doing in the comments. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that his is in, let's see. That's so cool. What Lori just said. Oh, my dad. Hi, Dad. Hi, Lori. All right, let's do this. So we're gonna start painting our background. So I'm going to start with some browns. And woo! It's okay that I dripped it. And I'm just doing pretty much horizontal brush strokes. And what I do regularly when I do this, so I don't really like when the effect I'm going for is not this. I want it to be more smooth and watered down. So usually after like dipping in my pigment, I'll dip it in the water and kind of help spread that out a little bit. So just kind of going like this. All right, so then I'm gonna do some other colors, some yellows. Like I said, for some reason I love yellows and go through them very quickly. But I'm gonna be overlapping these colors as well. So it's not gonna just be brown, yellow, blue, brown, blue, yellow. Yeah, it's not just gonna be brown, blue, and yellow because those colors can make so many more colors. And for anybody who's reading our comments and wondering about the mocha shows, we still do them. And actually, this is our 10th year anniversary. So we're going to be displaying that. And it's going to be a really cool show of past years. So it's exciting. All right, so I added some yellows. Got some browns. I'm gonna add some blues. Woo! Paint just jumping around. So I'm making my colors, you know, go off the sides. That's why I have my messy work area. So here my blues, make sure you can see, my blues are overlapping with some of my yellows, so we'll get some of this nice like serene green colors, and the blues and the browns when they overlap will be really nice too. So every once in a while, again, you can dip it in the water and kind of spread that out a little bit. So it depends on how dark you want your colors to be. Ooh, I got some nice thunder going on. Hey, Anne, glad you could join us. So, ooh, that's a nice green. So I'm adding some of these bright yellows, overlapping, overlapping, overlapping. So I like to think of this almost like something you'd see like I think I said in a spa or something like that. Oh my gosh, yes, Randall, come check it out. Everyone should come out and check out our mocha show when it goes up in September or after that. But we'll be posting, I'm sure, a lot about it leading up to that point. So I'm gonna do some more browns. Ooh, got some lightning going on here. As much as lightning or thunderstorms can be a pain in the butt, I really do love them. Luckily, I'm at home, so I can just paint and enjoy the sound and the smells and the rain, watching the rain. I'm literally just looking out. I have these little like cafe doors at my house. I'm just like looking at them. So it's just really nice to have that rainy day, those rainy day vibes. I love in summer when you can almost expect every afternoon a thunderstorm. Pretty sure my perfect or favorite day, summer day, is going to the beach, usually with friends, going in the water, getting some color, just, you know, and going in the water a lot, almost like exhausting yourself, and going back home and either reading a book until you fall asleep or watching a movie until you fall asleep. That probably is my favorite kind of summer day. So I'm glad we're there now. The ocean feels great. Does anybody else have like a favorite thing they do in the summertime? So you can see I'm just overlapping those colors. They're not straight across lines. It almost looks like it's almost turning to like wood, like especially this brown right here. It's pretty. Dad, yes, I love float. So me and my dad's, when I went to visit my parents, who I adore and love to visit, I'm pretty sure every day, me and my dad's ritual, at least me and my dad, sometimes my mom, is we go on a long walk, and then me and my dad would get in the pool, sometimes my mom, but for sure me and my dad would get in the pool and just float around. Well, he would do exercises while I just floated there. And we would listen to Tom Petty's Sirius XM show, Buried Treasure, and we would just listen to music and chill out and enjoy each other's company. So you're right, Dad. I love that. So, Anne, you like to stay at home and watch YouTube and draw? Yeah. Thank goodness for YouTube now, or as I like to call it, YouTube University. You can learn anything. You can learn pretty much anything. I mean, the other day I was like, how do I, oh, what was it? My car died. How do I jump a car? It's like, okay, YouTube. And here, yeah, it could be, how do I fold this in origami? Or how do I make this? So also, if you go on our website, we have some really great, yes, so I'm the worst shark's teeth finder. I wish, I just don't have eyes for it. Who knows? But, yes, everyone, please visit our website right now, artwithaheart.info, and there's Let's Make Art, and we have a whole page of YouTube videos that some of these, even the Facebook Lives, I know Matt is converting to our YouTube, but we have even more than what we have on our Facebook, so I think, I'm not positive. So if you go on our website and you just love watching our tutorials and learning, there's a lot. You could spend hours at this point watching different tutorials that we've made. All right, guys, so my background is pretty much done. Yes, I saw Matt's joined. Hello. My background's pretty much done. And like I said, I am going to be changing out, there's 2 times I'm going to be changing out, or my Martha Stewart magic, where I'm just switching out something that's already done, you know, pulling the pie out of the oven that's already been baked. So make sure you let this dry, because I did try to go back when it was like, I was like, oh, it's just a little wet. I can totally do the next part of drawing in the branches. Like it started to bleed out, you know, like, so if you're in doubt, if it's not dry, do not start doing the next part, because you will, the black will start to spread out, and you don't really want that effect. I think for this, I have pretty sharp edges. So, all right, I'm gonna put this to the side. Ooh, oh my gosh, did you guys see that? I'm just spilling a little water. Also, I'm so sorry, someone's car horn or alarm is going off. I hope it's not bothering anyone. Oh, there, it's off now. All right, got so many things going on. Putting this over to the side, and the next step is going to be putting in our branches. Oh, the thunder sounds so nice right now. All right, so we're putting in our branches next. So this, I just used black. And like I said, make sure that your background's completely dry. So I already have one done. That is dry. Nice and dry. Okay, so our black has been marinating in its water. So it's probably nice and thick at this point. So like I said, I'm gonna keep mine kind of close to this. I might just add a few differences. I mean, it's not gonna look exactly like it, obviously. I might just add a few differences, but for the most part, it's gonna look like this. So I'm adding some more water to my black. Yes, I was able to work with patients. I'm blessed to be able to have worked with 5 patients now over the past few days, and it's been really nice. I'm very thankful. All right, so some of these lines are a little more thin. So even though I've added some water, wait, what's that? I'm just doing a Facebook Live. Oh, that's fine. So what I'm gonna do is kind of just get the majority off my brush on the sides. And so something you wanna think about if you're making like pointier lines, I guess you could say, is spinning your brush so it makes that point. So if you kind of go like this, it's gonna, well, I guess this one, apparently this brush is great because it doesn't get too frayed out. But if your brush ever starts getting frayed out, you can go like this and kind of spin it so it makes that really nice point, which we want for this. So I'm gonna get some black paint just on my brush, not on the side really. And I'm gonna start with my point over here. And you can do it higher or lower, you can come it up from any corner. But I'm gonna start it from over here and drag it up one long line. So we have this nice one long line. So I've worked at a paint and sip place before, and we did a lot of trees. So I'm gonna try to talk you through how to do trees the best that I can, because they can be tricky. They can be some tricky trees. Okay, so we have this initial line. So then from there, I almost envision like this is the middle of the trunk. Obviously it's very thin, we're gonna thicken it up. And this is the end of maybe one of the branches. So what I can do from here is same thing. I'm not even pushing my brush down that much, but I'm just kind of making a slightly zigzagged line, like so. Every once in a while, add some water to the black. And so I'm gonna keep doing this. So a couple things to think about when you're doing, when you're making branches is, or that I've noticed that people tend to do, they want to make, try to think of a branch as it is, not what you think it is. So for example, when you do a branch, it doesn't come off like at a right angle, if that makes sense. So I'm not, so if this is, you know, a branch is not going to come like this usually, like this, and then have another branch like this, and another branch like this. So that's not usually, for the most part, how they look, like at those right angles almost. Yes, some of them are, it depends on the tree. But I feel like for the most part, if you look at branches, they come off, I think of it like if you're exiting a highway, you know, it's not, you don't make that really like sharp right turn usually, you know, it's a slow, so you come off the ramp and slowly drive away. So kind of keep that in mind. So I'm gonna be adding some other lines. So I'm keeping them kind of thin right now, but I'm gonna go back and thicken any of them up that need to be thickened up. So let's see here. Some other things to remember. Try to have some branches go off your paper. Don't keep them all on the center. If we're taking a little snapshot of a branch, there's a good chance that not all of the branches are within our frame, unless you're trying to do that. But I think it makes, I've said this before, it makes it much more dynamic if you have some lines going off your page. And I have a whining dog here. She's whining. Oh my gosh, and now we got some ambulances. Let me tell you, we got all sorts of noises going on today here. So I'm gonna overlap some of my branches too, so make sure you have some overlapping. My neighbors keep walking by. I don't know what they're doing. I guess they're at the beach, now they're going to their car. And they see me just standing in the window. I'm sure like, okay, kind of odd. It's all right though. Let's see here. All right, I think I'm okay with this many lines. I can always add more. So now that I have the general area where my lines are going to be, I can start to thicken them up. So another thing to think about when you're painting, drawing, or making trees, however you are creating trees, is if you look at a tree, whatever is closest to the base is always going to be thicker. So if this is a branch that's coming off of the trunk of the tree, it's going to be much thicker, obviously, than this twig that's out here at the very end. So now I'm going to take my brush, like I said, kind of twirl it a little bit so I get that nice point. Go back to my black. I might add a little more water. Okay. So now I can go and just start thickening the base of that. So now you can press down harder to make a thicker line. So the less pressure you apply to your brush, the thinner your line's gonna be. So keep that in mind, especially when you get out towards the ends. You don't want those to be too thick, so don't press down too hard. Ooh, we got some nice thunder rolling, yes. Oh, my black is getting dried up, so I'm gonna add quite a bit of black, or sorry, water to it. Got a whiny dog. Has anyone been fortunate enough to see the cherry blossoms in DC or in I guess Japan? There's a lot of cherry blossoms as well. I have not yet. My friend Erica used to live in DC, and she said it's gorgeous. She said the last few times though they've been blooming a lot later, so I don't know. Climate change, you know? So as I'm pulling my brush from towards the base, from the base towards the end of twigs, branches, whatever, I'm applying less pressure. So more pressure down here, then less and less as I go up. More sirens, perfect. I hope everyone's okay. I'll tell you what, there's lots of action down here in Neptune Beach usually. I think that's one of the reasons I love it. Ooh, tomatoes! I've been such a bad plant mom. Well, I can't say I've been a bad plant mom necessarily. I don't have any, well, I have some plants, but I don't have any veggies right now. But I wish I did. I think I'm gonna do a little veggie garden, but with already, at this point, it has to be already sprouted vegetables. Even if it's just mixed greens, it's always nice to be able to go out and grab those. It's so easy. But I do love fresh tomatoes. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys ever eat it, but I didn't discover it until later in life, but just a tomato sandwich. So like sliced tomato on literally like white bread or maybe sourdough with some mayonnaise and like salt and pepper. It might sound gross to some of you, but it's so good, especially if especially if the tomatoes are fresh. Oh my gosh. Dad, are you saying that the sirens got me under pressure? Nah, it's all good. Nice. Herbs, lettuce, and kale, always good. Yeah, herbs, we always kind of have a few in our windowsill. We have some basil on our windowsill, but also everyone, if you use, or like green onion, me and my roommate always have green onion. After we use it just from the store and we cut it off, then you just put the like lower stalks in water and they'll start to root, and then you can just keep using them. We will use those green onions for months. So you can save money. Just keep them in a little window near like a windowsill. I'm getting close to being where I'm okay to stop. Let's see here. I'm just trying to like make sure it look like it's overlapping in some spots, so it looks a little more natural is what I'm going for. So yeah, see here, like this one spot, I thickened it up too much, so it's thinner than this. So what I have to do is go back and thicken this one up enough so it looks natural. Like any branch going off another branch is gonna be a little smaller, if not the same size. So just kind of like even it out or make it look realistic. Okay, so this is this. You can go back and kind of clean up any edges. Now we got some sun. Maybe I'll get a rainbow here in a second. So that was just using black paint and the brush out of my praying watercolors. These ones again, like if you haven't seen them yet. And again, this brush, it does a really good job actually of doing detail. And you can do semi-bigger, I mean, if you have to cover a big space, you will have to dip your brush a lot of times, but honestly, if you can have a brush that can do background and detail, that's awesome. So I'm pretty impressed that this brush can actually do that. So I'm done with my watercolors. I'm gonna clean my brush off pretty good. I'll probably clean it after I'm done as well. So I'm just cleaned it off in some water. I'm gonna put it back in its house, in its home. Boop. All right, so I told you I'm gonna do a second switcheroo, a second Martha Stewart magic. Take this away. And I have these branches. Actually, they're pretty close. Can barely tell. Whoop, 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 whoop. Tricked ya. Okay, so this guy is dry. He's a little sticky right here, but it'll be fine. So I'll put that over there. Now I'm gonna have four. I'm gonna have four at the end of this. Four pieces of art. Just like frame them all right next to each other. Just give them to people. Okay. So last part, I'm gonna move my watercolor stuff away. You can keep this by you if you want for your fingers, but looking at it now, I don't even think I blended much of this. I might have a little bit on the branches, but let's see. All right, so we're getting out our oil pastels. So these are the current oil pastels we have in our art to go bags. Is it Pentel Arts? I don't know. But here are my, yes, here are my watercolors. Here are my oil pastels right now. You can tell I've been using the white the most. I would say I probably use the white also the most in paint, not watercolor obviously, because you don't really use white in watercolor, or at least I don't. But definitely in oil pastels and in thicker paint. I think a lot of times, well, obviously to light and stuff, but also with oil pastels as a blender. So that's why you can see I've used my whites the most. So I'm gonna take out the colors I'm gonna use, and that is going to be the red, this pink, and my white. And that's it. I did not know you can eat cherry blossoms. That's very interesting. I wonder what they taste like. Yeah, interesting. I used to work at this restaurant and they would put orchids in the tropical drinks. And you could eat these orchids. I'm not saying you can eat all orchids, so don't just eat an orchid at your house, because I'm sure some are not edible, but the ones that we used at the restaurant you could eat. And I didn't believe someone, but they said pretty much anything that's organic you put in food, you have to be able to eat. So it's true. I've eaten one of those orchids before, but that's interesting. It's really fun to have to put edible flowers on stuff, especially like cakes and stuff like that. Cherries. I would hope they taste like cherries. I love cherries. So does my dad. Dad, tell everyone how much you love cherries, right? All right, so we're gonna do this like highlighted detail. I hope I'm not getting too close and you can't see, but highlighted detail on our branches. And you are going to be using one of your white oil pastels. Mine's tiny. Actually, I kind of like it like this. Anytime I use oil pastels or crayons, I guess I'm just so used to using like, I don't know, like pushing down on a pencil, they always break for me. So it almost works better. I can kind of control it better. So all you're gonna be doing is adding some lines that follow some of these branches and some of these twigs, some of these, yeah, anyway. So I'll show you. So I'm just using this to go along and follow along here, if you can see that. So like I said, you can blend it a little with your finger. It's not necessary though, so if you want to make it a little more smoothed out, you can though. If you want this to look more like highlights, you can also add them kind of more to the tops, or the top of your branches. So for example, here I might just follow this top branch a little bit, like that. So beautiful. Another thing that is helpful when the nubs they are the nubs. Another thing when you're making branches, or another point, or something to think about, is where the placement of your white lines are. So for example, if you look right in here, there's like a cluster of branches, right? So this branch is going all the way out here. So it's overlapping these two branches. So you can make the decision if you want this branch to be overlapping or do you want it to be behind those. So I'm gonna make this branch the front one that's overlapping. So what you do is you take your white and you'll maybe follow that over on that black line, but over those. So see, now using that little bit of white makes that branch look like it's overlapping. So when I bring the white up these branches, it's gonna go behind it like so. Noodles, I don't think is happy with the lightning right now. So see that there? Just by using 3 lines with my white oil pastel, I've created this perspective where this branch is overlapping these 2 branches. Or I guess it's technically 5 lines. But, so that's how you can, add that perspective of this branch being closer to you. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna add a few more to my base. And make them different sizes. I like to make mine a little squiggly so they're kind of picking up the texture of bark. They really do bring life to your art. So one time, I'm like the queen of contrast. It's kind of funny I'm saying that right now, the queen of contrast, because it sounds really funny. But I remember in college once my professor told me that I contrast stuff too highly, which was probably so true. I think I just found it so amazing that you can like make these extreme highlights. I think like my idea is like making things pop, instead of rather using it subtly as well. I just was always doing very, the contrast of like very dark to very light. So I thought that was funny. Like, you might contrast a little too much. Okay. So yeah, use contrast, you know, have some fun. You can use some extreme contrast in your art, but it's always not, like this is kind of a little more subtle contrast. It's not too bright, especially when we go back and put in our cherry blossoms. That's going to cover up some of it. So you don't have to get every single branch, because we are going to be going back with our reds to do the cherry blossoms. Okay, here I'm trying to think. I'm going to say this one is going to go in front, so... All right, y'all. Oh, thank you, Randall. Yeah, I think lately I've been trying to keep it kind of peaceful art. Last one I did was like the Monet inspired water lilies. Something that when we're doing it, I mean, almost always when I'm doing art, am I a little more at peace no matter the content. But yeah, lately I feel like I have been doing some more peaceful stuff. All right. Like I said, once this is done, you can really put it anyway. You know. Anyway, so I like it. This one kind of looks like a weird skinny tree to me, so I kind of like it either this way, or this way. But we're gonna start adding our cherry blossoms now, and I think, you know, I might have used some white in them, but for the most part, it's gonna be the pink and this pinky peach color. So back of this just to show you some examples. So I don't even know exactly what a cherry blossom looks like, but you don't really have to know. If you look at these, they're, for the most part, there's not really like a flower shape. There might be, there kind of is, but it doesn't have to be that exact. So if you don't have to make every shape like, you know, this or whatever. I mean, A, it will take you forever, and B, it's not necessary to make it effective looking. So it's gonna be a lot of shapes that are just kind of like overlapped, like abstract almost blobs. You're not making a cherry blossom tree, you're making an abstract blob tree. But for real, you don't have to make it look perfectly like this. Like if you wanna have some here and there that look like this shape, that's fine, but it's not necessary. You're gonna have tiny ones especially that will be like blowing away. Anyway, so I'm gonna flip it back over. So let's see here. I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna add a few right around my branch here, and really I'm just kind of squiggling my brush around, like maybe in a circular way every once in a while, but it's not necessary. So something else you want to think about when you're doing this is, or another thing a lot of people I've noticed do is they think they need to put their flower right on top of a branch, which you really don't need to do. It'll make it look much more full if you do some that are not exactly on top of a branch, and even like a little more outside of it. So of course you're gonna have a lot of them overlapping branches, but you don't feel like you need to have every little part or every little bloom on top of. So the idea is your eye is gonna fill in where a very tiny twig might be. So kind of, I'm bunching them together. And then I'm gonna take my peachy color, peachy pink, and same thing, but I'm gonna overlap. I have a feeling I might like this one actually more than my original. That's always nice. So I'm gonna overlap some of these reds. Like I said, so I'm gonna flip this over. So you might have these shapes, like this is what they look like close up, and I'm just going in with a little bit of that pink in the center in some spots, maybe outside of it as well. So it's gonna make it pop, especially since, so down here where it's really dark from your branches, you need this to differentiate your flower, or to show your flower against the branches. You can use some white as well if you really want to make some highlights or make it pop. So all right, y'all, I'm just gonna keep scooting along in this. See what time we're at. 4:46. Wow, time is flying. Having too much fun. Let's see. So I'm trying not to cover it up, but I'm doing the same thing. So I'm just like using my red right now, like I said, to make those like kind of abstract blobs that might be my cherry blossoms. Or not might be, they are my cherry blossoms. So I'll do this every once in a while, and then I'll go back and use like my peach and white. Partly because I like to see the progress, and partly because I start to get bored with one color, and I want to just start changing it up a little bit and using another color. Yes, what Lori said. So if you are doing your own version of this, please post and share with us. We love to see what you've done. Even if it's not this, what you've been up to, any art that you've been making, to share with us. I feel like hopefully a lot more people are doing art, or a lot of artists are also doing art right now, because honestly, I mean, we're at home so much of the time, or hopefully we are. Like I said, now I'm gonna go back and add. So also I wanted to give a shout out. This week I found out is CNA Appreciation Week, which is the Certified Nurses Assistants. It's their appreciation week, and honestly, the CNAs, we work with so much at the hospital. They really help us out. We have such a good relationship with them. They, for the most part, know the patients as well as even the nurses. So thank you to all the CNAs for all you do, for all the support you give to the patients, and for all the nurses that you help, the patients and the staff. We really appreciate all you do. So thank you for all you do. All right, so and if you're watching this and you are a patient currently, it's always nice to make your CNA a piece of art, or your nurse or your doctor. Those are the things that they will cherish forever. And if you do that, you can always post it on our page as well. Show off your art. Let's show the staff, the frontline workers in the medical setting, how much we care about them. Man, I totally thought this was gonna be like my fastest art piece yet, or tutorial, just because I was like, oh, I already have like not two examples done, but kind of like that. Like, you know, I have the background and the branches ready to go, so I don't have to let them dry. I think this might end up being my longest one, so thank you. I was trying to save us time, but thank you for going on this little journey with me. So another thing I'm gonna do is have some of these, oh yes, we're so grateful. I'm gonna have some of these cherry blossoms like blowing away in the wind. So as they're coming off, I'm gonna have a few like bunched together, like they're flying off, like the wind is catching them. So they're kind of swirling away in the wind, you know. I don't know, has anyone seen the video lately? I'm pretty sure it was in Japan, but it was cherry blossoms, and like it's just like a field of, I don't know if you can call, I guess you can call in a field of cherry blossoms with all these cherry blossoms, and it's all of the like petals are on the floor, and then there's like all these deer sitting under it. It looks like the most peaceful, beautiful thing I've ever seen nature create. So I don't know what it would be online, but I'm sure if you look up cherry blossoms deers, it's so beautiful and peaceful. But it's like a recent video, I'm pretty sure. But that's what I think of these cherry blossoms, like going and landing gently on top of a deer, or in a field while someone's having a picnic, just, you know, absolutely making the world a better place. You could even get fancy and do like a little swirl. Like, so if like, for example, down here, it's like you have some kind of swirling around. Ooh, so fancy. So we keep bopping along. Again, my neighbor's looking at me like, okay, she's just standing in the window. I promise I'm doing art and I'm not being creepy, I promise. Almost there, guys. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and finish all the red and go back with my, got some nice art hands going on, go back with my peaches and whites at the end. So you can see I'm overlapping on the branches, but there's a lot that are not overlapping. Has anybody picked up any new art mediums or experimented during quarantine? Anything that you've learned? Just kind of thinking. I'm trying to think of for myself if I've done anything different. Big clusters. So I'm adding bigger clusters, smaller clusters. Thank you guys for being patient and staying. I hope you find this relaxing too in some way. Sometimes, or not sometimes, a lot of times, I'll watch tutorials not following along right away, but just to kind of chill out, watch somebody else do art. It's really nice, actually. Highly recommend it. Thank you, Lori. My pink is getting a little red on it, so I'm gonna just smoosh. Smoosh is a technical term. Smoosh it off on my napkin. Oh, good. Thank you, Brookie. Art should be relaxing. That's something I think it takes a lot of artists some time to get to. Even though I wish most people could experience it right away, how relaxing art can be if you are forgiving to yourself, especially knowing that you're learning something new. We can't be experts right away. It's rare, if not impossible, to be experts right away. Remember, we're gonna explore how to do what we're doing We need to practice it. So I'm gonna add just a few more white pieces, and then we'll almost be at an hour. Wowie wee wah. So I'm just adding a few white in some spots, so it's very nice, bright highlights. I'm not much of an artist, but oh yes, see, I don't play a musical instrument. Unless you count singing to annoy people. But yeah, see, I wish I played an instrument. Our, my coworker, Matt, one of the artists with us, he just started playing the handpan, you know, half a year ago or so. And oh my goodness, he impresses us so much now, how much he's learned and how amazing it is. And he said the same thing. It's very relaxing for him. So, you know, find that little thing, or not that little thing, that big thing, that important thing for your well-being that helps you stay at peace, get your mind off stuff day to day. Something you can share with other people is always good too. All right, loves, I think I'm done. I have kept you for long enough. I've enjoyed it. We've had some good conversation. And guess what? The storm has passed, you know? Got some sunlight right now. Love you all. Thank you for joining. Share your stuff with us. There's that donate button you can click right now if you want to. But regardless, thank you for joining. We appreciate you. We love you. I have been back in the hospital, so we are starting to get integrated back into the hospital. It's gonna take some time, but any interaction we get with any patients or any of you is really important to us. So thank you for spending your time with us. This will be posted, so you can always go back and pause or rewind or share with other people. All right, guys, God bless and see you later. Thank you, Randall. Bye.